and welcome to Rise, Heal, and Grow. I'm Leah M. Hill. This show is a podcast production of Apollo Sunrise Center, which is a health, wellness, and spiritual retreat center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. On this show, we shine the light on those who nurture wellness and inspire positive change. My guest today is Paula Keymont. She is a certified yoga instructor, an astrologer, and a retired high school guidance counselor. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you, Leah. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I want to talk about this career you've had, this 35-year career as a high school guidance counselor, and then how you got into yoga and astrology from that.
It does seem kind of odd, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems really kind of one extreme to the other, but not necessarily. So I absolutely loved my career as a high school guidance counselor. I was so fortunate to be blessed with working with the adolescents, that age group, and to have such a meaningful and purposeful career, because that's one thing that's always been extremely important to me, is for my work to be meaningful and purposeful. And I think I learned as much from my students as hopefully they may have learned from me, I'm not sure. And the transition into my encore career, I guess is what I call it, happened in kind of an odd way, to be truthful with you. So I knew at some point that when I retired, I was going to have to do something else. So, you know, we retire at a certain age, and sitting still for me is
Right.
not in the books in any way, shape, or form. And I had always been interested in astrology. So I had been learning and studying astrology since I was probably 10 years old, reading books. And
Really?
but my upbringing in my family was something that wasn't encouraged.
Right.
So that was, you know, just something more of a hobby and kind of looking at things. And the yoga piece did not come into my life until later years, at a very critical time.
Yeah, you mentioned something about how yoga saved your life.
Yoga, the practice itself, and I've had many mentors along the way, and many yoga instructors that I'm grateful to, but the practice itself has changed my life in so many ways. I don't even know where to start, but in 2010, my daughter was graduating from high school. My mother had just passed away a few months prior after 3 years of battling cancer. And I was in this space where I knew there was going to be huge transitions. So I had raised my daughter alone. I was a lone parent, and you know, she was off to college in upstate New York. My mother was gone. And all of a sudden, Paula found herself with a lot of time on her hands, which I had never, ever been used to before. You know, always being laser focused on responsibilities, plus the full-time career. So I had decided to try a community yoga class at a studio close to where I was living. It was $5.
Nice.
Yeah, $5? Why not? I've got a kid going to college. I can afford $5.
Right.
So I did this community yoga class. It was 1 hour. It was in a hut studio, which I had never even been exposed to.
And that was your
that was my introduction to yoga.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a $5 hut yoga community class.
Wow.
And honestly, Leah, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. Nothing. I mean, I was all over the map. I was like, chaturanga, what? You know, utkatasana, what? You know, there were Sanskrit words and nothing I was familiar with. But the instructor was very, very good. She was the owner of the studio. I was fortunate in that respect. And I walked out of that studio seeing colors.
Really?
That 1 hour of movement. Wow. The trees looked greener.
Oh, I see what you mean.
The sky looked bluer. It hit me.
Wow.
Boom. And from there, that moment forward, I started practicing on a regular basis, because I always said this is something different. I was always a gym rat.
Yeah.
You know, I was always interested in physical exercise, but this was different.
Definitely.
And
you really got trial by fire there. Going
trial
to
by
the
fire
yoga the first time.
For sure.
Wow.
But
I've done that, and it is like
I actually wish someone had videotaped that first class I ever took, because it was pretty funny. But you know, I'm always up for a challenge. And you know, the experience itself, as I got more involved, I had the Western mind, so it was more about performance.
Oh,
and
I
that's
see.
not the practice.
Like, how good am I at this?
So that
or
was
how
the
to-
mind
yeah.
at first.
Okay.
And then 2 years in, through a very difficult period of my life, I think it was 2012, I went to Kripalu in the Berkshires, and that was Pandora's box opening.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, the mind-body connection
Yep.
hit, and I started to understand what the practice meant.
Right.
And then I decided to go forward doing my first teacher training in 2013 solely for the purpose of enhancing my own practice, because I was learning and discovering things about myself that I never,
Wow.
ever knew existed. It was such a gift.
Yeah.
And
Oh, my gosh.
oh my goodness. So I did my teacher training, the first one, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. You know, I might want to do this when I retire. And then it just evolved. I continued training. I have another 100-hour certification in trauma-informed yoga
Oh,
that I did in
good.
2015.
Yeah.
And then I recently did another 200-hour program. And down the line, I will eventually go into a 300-hour, because it's a continual learning process,
Of
as
course,
astrology
yeah,
is.
right,
But it
right.
absolutely saved my life. It brought me a sense of inner, and inner, it's not just the physical aspect, the body, but the inner well-being was life-changing.
Wow. That's
Life-changing.
amazing. And then you brought astrology into it, whereas, like you said, you were kind of doing it just for yourself.
Yep.
For a long time and
Yep.
kind of studying it, and you were interested, but then something happened during COVID, was it? what besides the pandemic?
What didn't happen during
I
COVID?
know.
Oh my goodness.
Besides the whole
Yeah,
world changing.
Yeah, besides everything shutting down. So the high school, we were remote for a year, and working in a city high school in particular, it was very, very challenging. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to really study more. I had more time. I didn't have that. My husband and I just moved up to the area, and my commute into the city was, it was taking an hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning,
yeah,
and
I'm
the
sure.
same. So all of a sudden, I had a lot more time on my hands once the day ended, and I was able to really dive into studying astrology, like more so, like really learning the deeper aspects of this metaphysical science, which is endless.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's interesting because it's similar to, like you mentioned, the yoga. Learning yoga is endless.
Endless.
And
endless.
learning astrology is endless. So
Endless.
you really
It's a
delved
continual
into both
evolution,
of those. Yeah.
absolutely. And I realized when I started really learning about astrology, I've always been interested in the moon and moon phases, moonchild over here. I understood how much the astrology piece tied into the practice of just the cycles and the energy that we bring into our bodies when we practice, because yoga it's a moving meditation.
Yeah, so that's so interesting because I think so many people think of yoga and astrology as two very different things, but you found a way to blend them, to see how they complement each other by aligning them to the cycles of the moon and the
especially,
stars
yes.
and the planets
Yep.
and the movement of the planets. That's what's so interesting about your work.
Yeah, thank
is
you.
that you found a
Thank
way
you.
to do both.
I have a full moon program that I do every month at Riverside Yoga and Massage in Newburyport, and of course every month the moon is in a different zodiac sign. So looking at the signature of whatever sign the zodiac, whatever sign the moon is in, I kind of tailor the program to the essence of that energy. So we're just coming off eclipse season.
Right, I know. For us Virgos,
Yeah,
it was
that was a heavy
a
new
little
moon.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so we're just coming off eclipse season. So this full moon in Aries, which is coming up this weekend, I believe it's on it's a week from today, actually. It's this huge release because the
Wow.
energy's been so heavy.
Yes.
So the practice itself will kind of embrace that Aries, that cardinal fire, that energy. And so it will be a lot of focus on what we can draw from that full moon and how we can bring that into the practice and kind of meditate on how we can draw that energy in and move forward with what we need to release, discover about ourselves.
Right.
And
Wow,
take
that's
it out from that.
fascinating. And it's all part of the full moon yoga class
Yep.
that you offer, that you bring in. So it doesn't matter what zodiac sign you are, there are elements to that full moon
That affect
cycle
all
or
of us.
zodiac
Yep,
that affect
absolutely.
us all. So
And
that's fascinating.
the practice is tailored as such. You know, Aries, of course, is a very bold. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's a bold, very physical. It's a very assertive, ambitious, creative, fiery energy. But I have to always remember that it's an all levels class.
Yes. That's
so
good.
we're not going to be
Good to
standing
know.
on our heads or doing an Ashtanga
Right.
practice or
Planks. Can we not do planks? I can boycott planks,
You can
please.
boycott
Yes,
planks.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So, but and each sign, of course, is associated with different parts of the body. So Aries is associated with the head.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And the last full moon in a lunar eclipse, that was in Pisces.
Or Virgo? Was it Pisces or Virgo?
Well,
it was
that
in
was the,
Pisces.
that was the new moon. The last
that was the
full
new moon. The
right?
full
the last
moon was
full
in
moon
Pisces.
was in Pisces.
Okay.
So that Pisces energy is very, very different than this full moon in Aries. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's a mutable water sign, and it's empathic, and it's intuitive, and it's
Right.
flowy, and it rules the feet, and it rules the emotional, energetic, and spiritual body. So the sequence itself that we did for the practice is going to be very different.
Yeah, than this one.
Than this one. But I promise there won't be any headstands or,
Right.
but we will be doing a lot of warrior poses because Aries
Yeah.
is it's courageous. There's courage, there's confidence,
Yeah.
there's ambition, it's fire. So we put that fire into the practice.
Right. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love that you put so much intention into these classes
It's
that you
important
do.
to me. It's
yeah,
important to
and
me.
have you, I mean, if you think of any examples or have you experienced like any of your students, like just some transformation, maybe physically or emotionally because of these?
It's
classes?
it's a real beautiful thing to remember that 15, 20 years ago, I was a student on the mat, and I was very, very moved by my instructor's practices to a point where, again, life-changing aspects, and I hold that dearly. So when a student comes up to me after a program or even a class, but especially a program that said, the words you said are exactly what I needed to hear.
Oh,
Again,
that's
it's
so nice
it makes
when you
my
hear
heart
that.
sing.
Yeah.
It makes my heart sing. My
Right.
students, I sometimes wonder if students participating in a yoga class understand that the instructor is just filled with joy watching any kind of positive
Right.
effect that can happen through this practice because it's so important.
Oh, that's great. Just to
Yeah.
get that immediate confirmation
It's
like
just
that
beautiful.
of someone
Yeah.
that just says,
Yeah.
because I've taken a lot of yoga classes, as many people have, and there are some instructors I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to go back to that one. But some instructors, like you said, they say something that resonates with me or some sequence of the poses that resonates with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really felt huge,
This is it.
something,
Yeah,
yes,
this is
something
it.
that I love and
Yeah.
huge transformation.
And of course,
So-
and like you said, it may be, I'm sure there's many people where, perhaps I'm not the right person, and that's okay. The crucial piece for me is please find your right person.
Yeah.
Because when you do find the right instructor, you will understand how important,
Yeah.
the practice is.
It is physically, emotionally,
spiritually,
even
just being
psychologically.
present,
Yeah, I really think it has
just
a
being
big impact.
grounded in the present moment, which for someone with this mind, oh my goodness, it just never stops. So the
Right.
practice itself is very grounding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fabulous. So let's talk a little bit about your astrology work. What you do, I know you read natal charts. If you can just
Yes.
briefly explain what that is and what a natal chart is.
Okay, so that was one of the pieces during COVID that I really dove into, and I decided to take one-on-one classes with Dorothy Morgan. She's out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I encourage anyone. She's fabulous. She's an astrologer. She's been practicing for 30, 40 years. And I had taken a prior online program where I got a certification. You know, I got the certification. I took the online test, but I didn't feel like I knew enough.
Okay.
And so when I started working with Dorothy, and I can't remember honestly how I found her. I think one of my friends had taken some classes with her. She had been at Circles of Wisdom for years back. And she said, you have to check out Dorothy. She's fabulous.
Wow.
So I started working with Dorothy one-on-one, and I decided to enroll in her certification program. And she taught me more than I could have ever imagined.
Wow.
It just all of a sudden through, after a year, it just started to click. And hers is based on hours, so you have to put so many hours in with her to learn before she'll give you an official certification, which I did, and then some. I continued my instruction with her because she's so fabulous. But it was just this process of all of a sudden it all pulled together. Understanding, like when I looked at my chart to begin with, I went, oh.
So you're talking again about your natal
My
chart,
natal
which
chart,
is
right? So
where the planets were at the moment you were born,
so
right?
a natal
if I've
chart
got that
is
right.
a natal chart is literally the snapshot of the planets that were in the sky when you took your first breath. So the moment you came out of the womb and took your first breath, boom, that's where the planets are. That's your natal chart. It stays with you for your entire life. So the transiting planets, as they move around the Earth, at times activate certain aspects in our natal chart, which is our blueprint. It's our energetic blueprint with what we come into this lifetime.
Right. Which makes sense too. As we get older, our life changes and shifts, and we have different, like you said, different influences because of the transits, because those planets are moving as we're getting older. And that makes sense because you also did a transit reading for me.
I did.
Not too long ago. It was very helpful, and my experience of it was that you were able to look at my chart and kind of look maybe 12, maybe 18 months ahead, like what's going to be activating or lighting up, as you said, in my chart. And it was so helpful to me because, and we were laughing at first, I know, because you saw my natal chart first, and you were like, oh my God, Leah.
I was wondering if you were going to say that.
Yeah,
I did. I looked at her natal chart, and I was like, I have never seen a natal chart like that before.
Yeah, it's unusual. I know. I'm not an astrologer, but I know the few people who have seen my natal chart have said, like, oh my God, what are you here for? What are you doing? Like,
exactly.
It's like,
wow.
Okay. So yes, I have lots of intense things also that might come up in my transits. And one of the things that you did was you helped me kind of understand during these timelines, these are some new things that might be coming in. And they were all really great things. They were like new skills, new direction in my life, new opportunities coming in for me, new people I'm going to meet. And that was all very helpful. And I'm thinking that there might be people out there saying, well, of course, 18 months from now, you're going to meet new people, blah, blah, blah. You don't need an astrologer to tell you that. But what was really helpful was you also told me things to look out for. Things that, or maybe either because of my natal chart and my personality and because of where what's happening with the transit, it's like, yeah, all these things are happening. You're meeting new people. You're going to be having these new opportunities. But these are a few things you might want to watch out for.
Right.
And that was so helpful to me. It wasn't just like, oh, here's what's going to happen. It's like, here's how to use this information.
So we talk about, we talk about using this piece of, if you have a natal chart reading or if you have a transit reading, once you understand your natal chart, we talk about how it's a guiding tool.
Yeah.
It's simply guidance. Only you know your own truth. So you have to take what resonates with you, but trust your own truth, because that's the important piece. Right. So when we look at something and we see what strengths you've brought in with your natal chart, maybe some of the weaknesses where the challenges are, because most people know their sun sign, right? We all know our sun sign. That's the month you were born. That's your sun sign. In astrology, that is a minuscule part of who you are as a person and what you came into this lifetime with energetically. There are so many different components to a natal chart, and to understand that blueprint that you brought in energetically. And again, it's all in faith in what you believe in, what you brought in previously as well, what you're carrying with you, and the lessons that might be showing up for you in this lifetime. And we can sometimes get that sense from a natal chart. It's like, okay, so this is, you have what we call aspects in your natal charts, the planets talking to one another when you were born. And some people have charts where the aspects are harmonious and there's not a lot of disharmonious energy.
And others.
The two of us sitting here know what I'm talking about, and others.
A little bit more intensity
A bit
going
more
on.
intense, exactly.
Yeah.
Where there are numerous challenges throughout our lives.
Yes.
And when we can understand some of that influence, some of that energetic influence that we're carrying,
Right.
it really is helpful to understand that as a guide.
Yeah.
And to feel a little more supported and, most importantly, validated.
Right.
So it's a validation of, okay, this is not in my imagination. I am really, truly feeling this. It's that
Yes,
energetic
that's so helpful.
connection. And that's where yoga comes
Yep.
into that understanding, is truly understanding that the mind and body are so connecting, that moving meditation that moves that energy within us. Right? Because we're all holding all kinds of energy, and energy, it oftentimes, especially if you understand the chakra system, it can get stuck.
Yes.
And how, by understanding your natal chart or the transits, the current transits that might be activating key aspects in your natal chart, how can you work with that energy to fill your life with more ease and perhaps more meaning, or feeling more purposeful about the direction you're heading in?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so helpful for so many of us, that we face life's challenges and transitions, and we just react. Oh my God, this is happening to me, or I lost my job, or I lost my relationship, or something, and it's like, oh my God. But having this information of not only the natal chart but the transits of what might be happening at this point in your life can be so helpful, because it gives you, like you said, some tools, some guidance, something that says, okay, first of all, this is not, even though the end of the relationship might be permanent, you're not going to feel this way forever. It's like something is going to change. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I say sometimes when I see the things with the challenges in my astrology chart. It's like, okay, I know that I can just keep breathing through this time, and that things will get easier. Things will lighten up. Things will get better.
Exactly.
And that helps me not only in these transit times, but just in my day-to-day, day-to-day life of like, okay, all right, we're just going to, maybe this month I'm going to focus on doing yoga more. Maybe this month I need to focus on meditation more. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it does help as a guidance. It's not hard and fast rule. It's not set in stone, like this is going to happen on this date,
never,
because there's so many influences,
Exactly.
of planets, and also the asteroids and or other planetary bodies,
The
and
nodes,
all kinds
the
of the
north
nodes.
and south nodes, what your influence is with the north
There's
and
just
south.
so much, that's influencing. So, so that's important for people to know, is that this isn't, a plan. It's sort of guidance, but it's not like a plan. But oh my gosh, this day I have to do this, or that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's and of course, life. We live our lives. Things come in our life. Things come out of our life. There are joy, moments of joy, moments of pain, moments of loss, moments. We all experience that.
yeah.
Every single one of us. And someone can say, well, you don't need to understand a natal chart to know that that's life. We're human, right? And we have the human experience. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
But again, that validation sometimes of, especially if you've had a number of challenges through your life, when you look at the blueprint, the energetic blueprint you came into with this lifetime, and you can have someone explain to you, the planets, the transpersonal planets, the personal planets, the planets, and the signature of the planets. When you understand that, it can help with maybe bringing some sense of ease and understanding, and like, okay, all right, I get this. This is my path.
Right.
This is my soul's purpose this lifetime. Each of us, our souls know the story we're walking, right?
Right. That's
So,
great. And I think it's also helpful in understanding our relationships with other people, you know, the people that we are naturally attracted to and bond to and make friends with, and then the people that are kind of like, woof, you know, I already know, you know, just like when you sense someone's energy, but
Right.
that helps you understand how you respond in situations with different people, I think is so important.
absolutely. Synastry charts are, and that's something that that's an area of where I really want to continue my learning. But the synastry charts can, you know, help even understand your child better. You know, what your child was born with, the snapshot
that's really cool.
of your child, and how you can better understand some of your child's moods and temperaments and such.
Oh, that's great. And so for anyone who might be interested in just exploring this, you know, with you for the first time, you offer a very basic sort of Astrology 101 class. I think it's called The Planets Tell Your Story.
The Planets Tell Your Story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's right, because this is the one I sat in on. I took this class with you not too long ago. And so what we had to do was bring our birth information, the date and time we were born, and the location we were born. And in the class, Paula goes through just the basics, kind of more expansive than what we just talked about here on the show. But it's sort of like, okay, this is just a snapshot, a picture of who you are, and kind of might be some of the things that the journey that you're on here. And I was laughing because I was remembering in that class, like as you were describing each one of us, we were all laughing at each other.
Yeah,
We're like, that's
funny.
totally her. Oh, yes, you know. And I know with me being double Virgo, there was a whole lot of laughter about all the lists that I make in my life. I make a lot of lists, and then I refer to other lists with my list. But that's how I live my life, is just making lists, because I don't know, it's the double Virgo thing. But it was just so funny because it just feels like someone who doesn't know you is talking about you, like that can describe your strengths, like you said, the areas that you might, you know, your challenges, areas you might want to improve on, those kinds of things.
Validation
So
for each
helpful.
of us is so important, because everyone's very quick to tell us what we're doing wrong, right?
Yes,
Everyone
exactly.
is so quick to tell us what we're doing wrong, but you know, it's nice to hear some validation. And we went over all the different aspects of each zodiac sign, right? The signatures of each, the flavors of each zodiac sign.
Right.
We went over all the aspects of the planets and the flavors of each planet and what that means.
Right.
And that's how, you know, we were laughing at this beautiful double Virgo here. Yeah.
And also, like you said, as we hear the other zodiac signs, those aspects, we're like, oh, I know my, you know, family member, spouse, whatever is yours, or child is just like that, just like that. And it's so amazing how accurate
how freakishly accurate it is. Absolutely. It's something. You look and go, wow. Okay. Yeah. There's something here. I mean, and I'm a skeptic. I really am. I'm a natural born skeptic. That's my Capricorn moon. Very conservative in many ways, although people would, you know, they laugh at me when I say that. But it's very true. I'm actually very conservative at how I look at things. But that is that Capricorn moon, which is, you know, it's hardworking. It's very focused. It wants things done properly and correctly.
Yep.
So I need to fully investigate before I jump into something.
Right.
And
this just was so powerful and resonated
when I
with
looked
you.
at my chart and I understood my natal chart, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
This isn't fluff. No, this is something that's very real, and I felt it too.
Right.
So,
And so for anyone who might be interested in taking that class, you're going to be teaching it again at Apollo Sunrise
At Apollo
Center.
Sunrise, I think December.
December.
Yep. We don't have a date yet, but it will definitely be in December.
Yep. And then also probably after that as well, because it's such a great class to, you know, to continuously run, you know, because there are so many people that are like, well, I doubt, kind of like me, you know, like I dabble, I've read a few books, I know a little bit about it, but taking your class really puts the whole picture together.
Yep.
So, so that'll be coming up at Apollo Sunrise Center, and you can learn more about that at apollosunrise.com and just look up Paula Keymont and the Planets Tell Your Story. And before we end, I just want to share with everybody how people can find you. Like, how can they find your work or work with you?
So I do have a website. It's Astro Yoga Flow, one word, astroyogaflow.com. And you can fill out an inquiry, easy for me to say, sheet, and I will get back to you, and perhaps we can work together that way. My full moon flows are every month at Riverside Yoga and Massage in Newburyport. And also at Color Light Frequency, I do natal readings out of
Newburyport.
Color Light Frequency. Lisa Choquette, she is, she's fabulous. She's the owner of the store. That's in Newburyport, and we do all kinds of cool stuff out of there.
Great, wonderful. It was so great to have you on the show today, Paula.
Thank you very much.
I feel like I've learned so much, and I think everybody else did too, because you had so much great information to share of like putting things together that I've never put together in that way. So that was so helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great, and thank you all of you for watching or listening here today on Rise, Heal, and Grow with Leah M. Hill. And please join us again next time. We have lots more episodes coming up.